3 of my exes lived a secret life. All were DL. Mark was everything I thought I wanted. 6 foot, broad shoulders from playing college football, a smile that could melt glaciers, and a job in finance that paid for our fancy dinners and weekend getaways. We met at a friend's wedding, and it felt like something out of a movie. For 2 years, it was bliss. Or so I thought. Lisa, a mutual friend, dropped a comment casually at brunch one Sunday. We were talking about college, and she said, "Oh, Mark went to state with Brian, right? Weren't they, like, inseparable?" It wasn't the comment itself, but the way she said it. A little too knowing. A little too smirky. I shrugged it off then. Brian. Okay. Plenty of guys have close male friends. But a seed had been planted. Over the next few weeks, I started noticing things. Mark was always on his phone, even during dinner. He'd claim it was work, but I'd catch glimpses of the screen. No emails, just something else. A dating site for men, or something similar. He started going to the gym later and later, sometimes not getting home until after midnight. Just putting in the extra work, he'd say, kissing me quickly before heading to bed. One Saturday, he said he had a conference out of town. I was happy for him. He packed his bag, gave me a kiss goodbye, and I went about my day. But something felt off. I couldn't shake this uneasy feeling. That evening, Emily and I were catching up over wine. I confided in her my concerns. "I don't know, Em. He's just different." Emily, bless her heart, always cut through the BS. "Look, Sarah, trust your gut." Lots of them. From Brian. They were intimate, flirty, pictures, explicit pictures. My breath caught in my throat. The conference? A lie. He was with Brian. I felt sick, betrayed. How could he? When he got home, I was waiting. I laid the phone on the table, the messages open. He walked in whistling and stopped dead in his tracks when he saw me. "What is this?" he stammered, his face paling. "Don't play dumb, Mark." "I know." He tried to deny it at first, said it was an old, but the evidence was right there, undeniable. Finally, he broke down. He admitted he'd been seeing Brian on and off for years. He said he loved me, but he was also attracted to men. "I don't understand," I choked out, tears streaming down my face. "Why? Why me?" He mumbled something about societal pressure, about wanting a normal life. About loving me, but not that way. The breakup was brutal. It felt like my world had shattered. I moved out immediately, unable to stand being in the same apartment, the same city as him. Emily was my rock, helping me pack, letting me cry on her shoulder, and reminding me that I deserved better. For weeks, I replayed everything in my head, searching for signs I'd missed. How could I have been so blind? Was I not attractive enough? Was I too boring? Eventually, I started to heal. Therapy helped. So did time. I told myself I'd learned a valuable lesson, trust my instincts. Then came David. David was the complete opposite of Mark. A musician, artistic, wore his heart on his sleeve. He was open about his past, his struggles, his insecurities. He seemed genuine. I was wary at first, of course. But he was patient, understanding. He slowly chipped away at my defenses, and eventually I fell for him. For a year and a half, it was good. Not perfect, but good. We had our arguments, our disagreements, but we always worked through them. Or so I thought. Again. This time, the warning signs were subtler. David had a friend named John. He talked about him often, always in a casual way. John helped me with my taxes. John recommended this new restaurant. John's got a great sense of style. I'd never met John. I'd asked David to introduce us, but he'd always brush it off. He's busy, he's out of town, he's complicated. Red flags started waving frantically in my mind. One night, David left his laptop open on the coffee table. I wasn't intending to snoop, but a message popped up on the screen. From John. Can't wait to see you tonight. My blood ran cold. I clicked on the message. A long history of flirting, inside jokes, and thinly veiled sexual innuendo unfolded before my eyes. He was cheating on me. With a man. The confrontation was less dramatic than with Mark. David didn't deny it. He just looked resigned. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I didn't want to hurt you. He explained that he was exploring his sexuality, that he wasn't sure if he was completely straight. He cared about me, he said, but he also had feelings for John. It was a different kind of betrayal this time. Not the blatant deception of Mark, but a quiet, insidious dishonesty. He'd let me believe he was something he wasn't. I packed my bags and left. Again. What is wrong with me, Em? I wailed over the phone. Am I just a magnet for guys with secrets? Maybe you're too trusting, Sarah. Maybe you ignore the signs. Or maybe you're just unlucky. Unlucky. That sounded about right. I took a break from dating. A long one. I focused on my career, my friends, myself. I went to therapy again. I tried to figure out why I kept attracting these types of men. And then, I met Chris. Chris was a doctor. Stable, responsible, kind. He was everything I thought I wanted in a long-term partner. He was open about his past. He seemed perfect. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, I was cautious, of course. But Chris was patient, understanding. He treated me with respect, with genuine affection. He seemed to adore me. We dated for 3 years. 3 years I thought I'd finally found my happily ever after. We talked about marriage, about kids, about building a life together. I invested everything I had into that relationship. My heart, my soul, my trust. And then, the rug was pulled out from under me. Again. It started small. Chris started working longer hours. He was always tired, stressed. He started traveling for conferences more often. He was distant, preoccupied. I tried to talk to him about it, but he brushed me off. It's just work, he'd say. I'm just stressed. But I knew something was wrong. I could feel it in my gut. One night, he left his iPad on the coffee table. I wasn't intending to snoop, but I saw a notification pop up on the screen. Grindr. My heart stopped. Grindr. A gay dating app. I opened the app. His profile was right there. Pictures of him, descriptions of his interests, his preferences. I scrolled through his messages. He was having multiple affairs, with men. The level of betrayal was staggering. After 3 years, after all the plans we'd made, after all the love I'd given him, he was living a double life. I didn't even confront him. I couldn't. I just packed my bags and left. Again. This time, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt numb. I moved into a small apartment downtown. I quit my job. I cut off contact with almost everyone. I just wanted to disappear. Emily found me, of course. She always did. She sat with me in silence for hours, just holding my hand. I don't understand, I finally whispered. Why does this keep happening to me? I don't know, Sarah, she said softly. I started to think that maybe I was cursed. Maybe I was destined to be alone. Maybe I was just unlovable. One day, I was sitting in a coffee shop, staring blankly out the window. The barista, a young woman with bright pink hair, noticed me. Rough day? She asked gently. I nodded. Sometimes, she said, you just gotta let go of the things you can't control. It was a simple statement, but it resonated with me. I couldn't control what Mark, David, or Chris did. I couldn't control their secrets, their lies, their betrayals. But I could control how I reacted. I could control my own life. I started to rebuild. Slowly, painfully, but surely. I went back to therapy. I started painting again, something I hadn't done in years. I reconnected with old friends. I started to learn to trust myself again, to listen to my instincts, to set boundaries. It wasn't easy. There were days when I wanted to give up, to crawl back into bed and hide from the world. But I didn't. I realized that I was stronger than I thought I was. I had survived 3 heartbreaks, 3 betrayals, 3 devastating losses, and I was still standing. A few months later, I met someone new. His name was Alex. He was kind, intelligent, and funny. He seemed genuine. But I was terrified. I was so afraid of repeating the past, of being hurt again, of falling for another man with secrets. I told Alex everything. About Mark, about David, about Chris, about my fears, my insecurities, my doubts. He listened patiently, without judgment. When I was finished, he took my hand and said, I can't promise you that I'll never hurt you, Sarah, but I can promise you that I'll always be honest with you, and I'll always respect you. I looked into his eyes, searching for any sign of deception. I didn't see any. I took a deep breath and decided to take a chance. We started dating. Slowly, cautiously. I kept my guard up, but I also tried to be open to the possibility of happiness. It wasn't perfect, of course. We had our arguments, our disagreements, but we always communicated openly and honestly. And slowly, gradually, I started to trust him. One evening, we were sitting on my balcony, watching the sunset. Alex turned to me and said, You know, I've been thinking a lot about what you told me about your exes. My heart skipped a beat. Here it comes, I thought. And I just wanted to say, he continued, that I admire you for your strength, your resilience, your ability to keep going after everything you've been through. I looked at him, surprised. You're an amazing woman, Sarah, he said, and I'm lucky to be with you. Tears welled up in my eyes. For the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if Alex is the one, but I do know that I'm stronger, wiser, and more resilient than I ever thought possible. And that, I realized, is enough. Maybe.